Hello everyone, this is your physics loving friend ARK here. Came again after a long time. How are you? So how is the preparation for mains? So today we are going to talk about fluid statics. So the name itself says fluid statics. It is the branch of physics which deals with the study of fluids which are at rest. So in this chapter we will be talking about fluids which are at rest. Okay, so first of all, what is a fluid? Fluid is nothing but the substances which flow from one place to another place. Generally we will say like that, right? The substances which flow from one place to another place are called fluids. Example, liquids and gases, right? The substances which do not have shape but have a definite volume are called fluids, isn't it? So the substances which do not have a particular shape but have a definite volume and they have a almost constant density, they are called fluids. Now let us talk about density of the body. Generally, density. So density is nothing but it is a mass per unit volume of the body. Mass per unit volume of the body is called density. Okay, so density is equal to mass by volume. Density rho is equal to mass by volume. So for per unit volume, how much mass is present, that is called density. Okay, so density rho is equal to m by v and it is a scalar quantity. Similarly, here units. What are the units of density? In SI system, the unit of density is kg per meter cube, whereas in CGS system, it is gram per cc, gram per centimeter cube. We know that 1 gram per cc is equal to 10 cube kg per meter cube, 1000 kg per meter cube. Okay, so we have two liquid samples. If two liquid samples of masses m1 and m2 and their volumes v1 and v2 are mixed. So we have two liquids of masses m1 and m2 and volumes v1 and v2. They are mixed up. Then find the density of mixture. Density of mixture. So generally, rho mix is equal to density of mixture is equal to mass of the mixture by volume of mixture, right? So therefore mass of the mixture is m1 plus m2 and the volume, total volume is v1 plus v2. So this is the formula for density of mixture. Okay, now see, if two liquids of equal masses and densities rho 1 and rho 2 are mixed and we are asked to find out density of mixture, rho mixture is equal to dash. Okay, so generally rho mix is equal to formula mass of the mixture by volume of mixture, right? So here we have two liquids of masses equal mass m comma m and volumes. Let the volumes be V1 and V2. Okay. So generally density is equal to mass by volume. So rho E is equal to m1 V1, rho 1 equal to m by V1. Similarly, rho 2 is equal to m by V2. So from this we can write V1 is equal to m by rho 1. Similarly, V2 is equal to m by rho 2. So mass of the mixture means m plus m by V1 plus V2. So this is 2m by V1 means m by rho 1 plus m by rho 2. Taking mass as common and cancelling, then rho mix formula 2 rho 1 rho 2 by rho 1 plus rho 2. Okay. So this is the formula for density of mixture. Now let us solve second problem. If two liquids of equal volumes and densities rho 1 and rho 2 are mixed. So in the previous problem we have two equal masses. Now we have liquids of equal volumes. So densities rho 1 and rho 2 are mixed, then the density of mixture is equal to. Okay. So generally rho mix is equal to formula mass of the mixture by volume of mixture. Let the volumes of mixture be V comma V, two liquids. Let the masses be m1 comma m2. So we know that generally density is equal to mass by volume. So mass is equal to volume into density. Okay. So therefore mass of the mixture is m1 plus m2 by total volume of the liquid is 2V. Right. Mass can be written as volume into density. So volume into density of first one rho 1 plus volume into density of second one rho 2 by 2V. So volume taking common and cancelling. So density of mixture rho mix formula rho 1 plus rho 2 by 2. So this is the value. Okay. Now let us talk about relative density. So relative density is nothing but it is the density of substance, density of one substance with respect to another substance. Okay. Density of one substance with respect to another substance, or relative density can also be called as specific gravity. Specific gravity is nothing but it is the ratio of density of substance to density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. Generally at 4 degrees Celsius water has maximum density, right? So relative density is equal to density of substance by density of water. So in general density of water rho HW at 4 degrees Celsius is 1 gram per cc, or in as a system we can say 10 power 3 kg per meter cube. Okay. And we know that density of mercury is 13.6 gram per cc. If we talk about the relative density of mercury, relative density of mercury is nothing but density of mercury is 13.6 gram per cc by density of water is 1 gram per cc. So its relative density is 13.6. So this relative density has no units. Why? Because it is a ratio of same quantity density, right? So the next concept, pressure. So generally what is pressure? In general we will say pressure is nothing but it is a force acting per unit area, right? It is a normal force acting per unit area of the body is called pressure. So now we are going to talk about pressure in fluids. Okay. So when an external force is applied on a fluid, then what happens? It develops an internally distributed pressure. An internally distributed pressure at all points of the fluid body. So when an external force is applied on a fluid, then what happens? It develops an internally distributed pressure which will be acted at all points on the fluid body. For example, let us take a container which is filled with some liquid. Okay. So generally density and pressure both will be defined at a particular point, right? So let us consider a point P here. So here there will be a water molecule or a liquid molecule. So for example, let it be the liquid molecule. This liquid molecule is being surrounded by the neighboring liquid molecules like this. So what will these neighboring liquid molecules will do? This neighboring liquid molecule will attract this body. So we'll apply some pressure on it like this. Okay. So this is called pressure in fluids. So when an external force is applied on a fluid, it develops an internally distributed pressure at all points of the fluid body. Understood, sir? So the important points which we have to remember is it acts at all points of fluid body. Next, at one point in the fluid body, it acts uniformly in all directions. At a particular point, okay, at one point in fluid body, it acts uniformly in all directions. So here the fluid is in contact with the solid surface, right? So this is called interface. Interface means the surface separating two media. So this is one interface, this is one interface, this is another interface. Similarly, this is also an interface which is separating liquid and air, that is gas. Okay, understood? So here the liquid, the interface which is separating the liquid is air, then that is called a free surface of the liquid. It is called free surface of the liquid. The fluid interface bounded by gas is called free surface of the liquid. The fluid interface bounded by gas or air is called free surface of the liquid. Okay, Nama? Now let us talk about atmospheric pressure. What is atmospheric pressure? It is a pressure exerted by the envelope of gases in the atmosphere, atmospheric pressure. So that atmospheric pressure is measured by an instrument called barometer. Okay. Now let us talk about variation of pressure with depth. Variation of pressure with depth. How the pressure varies with depth. Let us talk about this one. Okay, Nama? Which is filled with some liquid like this. So the density of the liquid is, let it be rho. Let rho be the density of the liquid. Now we have to check how the pressure varies with depth. Now for that purpose here, this is the open place, that is atmosphere will be exerting some pressure, that is called atmospheric pressure, right? Now let us consider an imaginary cylinder in the liquid. So we have an imaginary cylinder. Let A be the area of cross section of the cylinder. Let capital A be the area of cross section. Now consider 2 points X and Y at the top and at the bottom of the cylinder. Okay. Now let us consider, let us see how many forces are acting on this cylinder. First one, the weight of the cylinder will be acted vertically downwards, so that is W. So first force is weight of cylinder, W, right? So generally weight is equal to mg. Here mass can be written as volume into density. Again this volume can be written as area of cross section into height, right? See, this is, that is a point Y is at a depth of h2 and point X is at a depth of h1, let it be. Okay, h2 minus h1 be h. So we have considered a cylinder of height h. So W is equal to mg. So we can write mass can be written as volume into density. Again volume can be written as area of cross section into height. So A h, right, and it is filled with a liquid. So A h rho g. So this is the weight of the body, weight of the cylinder. And the second force is the liquid molecules which are above the point X will be exerting some pressure on it, right? Let that pressure be P1. Then what is the force? Force on X point X. Force can be written as pressure into area, right? So pressure acting on it is P1. Area of cross section we have taken as A. Next, the liquid molecules which are below the cylinder are trying to push the cylinder upwards with some force. Okay, so force on Y, here let the pressure be P2. So force on Y is equal to P2 into A. In equilibrium, upward force is equal to downward forces, right? So therefore in equilibrium, P2A is equal to, downward forces are 2, we have W plus P1A. So P2A is equal to, what is W? AH rho Z plus P1A. So A cancelled. So P2 is equal to P1 plus H rho Z. So P2 is the pressure at a depth H and P1 is the pressure at the point X. So what we can say, which is more? Pressure exerting at point Y is more. So therefore P2 is greater than P1. Understood? So if the depth is increasing, pressure also increases. Is it clear? If the point X is lying on the surface, so if we consider the cylinder, that is the point X on the surface of the liquid, then the pressure on X will be the atmospheric pressure, right? Now pressure at point Y is taken as point P. Then what happens? According to variation of pressure with the depth, pressure at point P, pressure at point Y, P is equal to pressure at point X, that is P naught plus H rho Z. So P equal to P naught plus H rho Z. Here this P naught is atmospheric pressure and P is called hydrostatic pressure. So P is called hydrostatic pressure. The difference between P minus P naught is called gauge pressure. Okay. So therefore P minus P naught is equal to H rho Z. Understood? So variation of pressure with depth. That means here what happens? If the depth increases, then pressure also increases. Pressure exerted by the liquid molecules on a body increases. We can observe that in the movie called Ghazi. So submarine, it will be immersed up to certain height. Actually, the capacity of the submarine, it can withstand up to 200 meters, for example. In the movie, it was drawn to a depth of 250 meter or 300 meter. Then what happens? All the water molecules will be exerting more pressure on the submarine, so that what happens? The glass windows will be broken and water enters it. Understood? So, as we increase the depth, the pressure exerted by the liquid molecules on the body increases. Next concept, Pascal's law. Blaise Pascal proposed this law. So according to this law, in an enclosed fluid, the increase in pressure is transmitted equally in all directions through the fluid. Okay? In all directions of the fluid. So in an enclosed fluid, the increase in pressure is transmitted equally in all directions. Or we can say the pressure at different points which are at same depth in a static liquid are equal. So if the liquid is at rest, the pressure at different points which are at same depth are equal. Okay? So this is called Pascal's law. We have many applications, hydraulic press, hydraulic lift, etc. So those two work under the principle of Pascal's law. And again Brahma press also. Okay, Nama? So according to Pascal's law, in an enclosed fluid, the increase in pressure is transmitted equally in all directions. Okay, let's have a look on this experiment. So here I have taken a plastic water bottle, and I have made 4 holes. In those 4 holes I have put 4 syringes of 3 ml, and here I have a syringe which is also filled with some water. Okay, now the water is completely filled in the bottle. Now see, when I press this one, when I apply some pressure on this piston, then what happens to the 4 syringes? See, so as soon as I press this piston, then what happens? The water entered these 4 pistons, 4 syringes, and that too all are at the equal level, 1 millimeter. It is at 1 ml, milliliter. Okay, so you can observe all are at 1 point. So what we have done, it is an enclosed fluid. In this enclosed fluid we have applied some pressure on it. That means pressure is increased here. This increase in pressure is transmitted equally in all directions, right? So this is verification of Pascal's law. We can observe this one. So in the bottle experiment, it is clear that the increase in pressure is transmitted equally in all directions, right? So that is Pascal's law. Now coming to this point, we have 3 containers of different shapes in which the liquid is filled, same liquid is filled like this up to the height, for example h. So this is the surface, free surface of the liquid. So here the atmospheric pressure will be there. We have considered 3 points at the bottom of 3 vessels, A, B, C. Okay, so here if you observe in the middle vessel we have more amount of the liquid. So in general, if I ask you what is the pressure exerted at point A, pressure at point B, pressure at point C, what is the relation between them? Obviously pressure at point A equal to pressure at point B equal to pressure at point C. Why? Because the liquid is filled in the containers up to the same height, isn't it? PA is equal to P naught plus H rho Z, PB is equal to P naught plus H rho Z, PC is equal to P naught plus H rho Z. So PA is equal to PB is equal to PC. When we talk about the amount of water, the weight, for example WA, WB, WC. So least amount will be in C, WA, B, C. So least is in WC, greater than WA, sorry it is less than WC, less than WA, less than WP. Alright. So pressure exerted by the liquid column is independent of shape of the container. So this is called hydrostatic paradox. Okay. Now hydraulic lift and hydraulic brakes are the applications of Pascal's law. Now we will be dealing hydraulic lift and hydraulic brakes. Okay, Nama? So this is the hydraulic lift which works under the principle of Pascal's law. So this hydraulic lift consists of a U-shaped rectangular boxes like this, which is filled with some liquid. And here we will be having two pistons. This is one and this is two. The area of cross section of this one is, let it be A1. Area of cross section is this is, let it be A2. Now we have a heavy load which is kept on the piston. Whenever we apply some force F1 on this piston on the left limb, then what happens? Force per unit area, the normal force exerted per unit area is called pressure, right? Initially the liquid will be having some pressure, but what we have done, we have increased that pressure by applying some force F1 on this piston of area of cross section A1. Then the pressure exerted P is equal to what? F1 by A1, right? It's an enclosed fluid. According to Pascal's law, this increase in pressure is transmitted equally in all directions at each and every part of the fluid, so that these liquid molecules will be trying to push this piston with a force F2. Okay, so here pressure is same, so the liquid molecules will be exerting same pressure. Then what is the force F2? F2 is how much? F2 is nothing but it's the force exerted by the liquid molecules on this piston, right? So in order to calculate F2, generally force is equal to pressure into area, right? F2 is equal to what is the pressure? P into what is area? A2. Area of cross section is A2. So therefore F2 is equal to P. What is P? F1 by A1 into A2. Therefore F2 is equal to A2 by A1 of F1. Here A1 is less than A2. So A2 by A1 means greater than 1. So here F2 is greater than 1. What is F2? It is a force exerted by the liquid molecules on this piston. So that is more than the force exerted by us. So therefore a heavy load can be lifted up. Okay. So this is hydraulic lift. Okay. So it works under the principle of Pascal's law. Next one is hydraulic brakes. See here, it is hydraulic brakes. This is brake paddle. Okay. So whenever we apply some force on this brake pedal, what happens is the metallic lever. So this metallic lever works and it pushes the piston in the master cylinder. It's a master cylinder which is filled with brake fluid. Okay. So whenever we apply some force on the brake pedal, the metallic lever works out, and this will push the piston in the master cylinder. So that means we have increased some pressure. So this increase in pressure is transmitted equally to each and every part of the fluid, and these liquid molecules will push these two pistons like this. So this is called brake shoe. Okay. So whenever these liquid molecules will push these two pistons, the brake shoe will touch the brake lining. So whenever the brake shoe touches the brake lining, then what happens? Vehicle will be stopped. Okay, Randy? So when we take out our feet from the brake pedal, then what happens? Because of this spring action, because of the elastic nature of the spring, what happens? Again it comes to the normal level. Understood? So hydraulic brakes and hydraulic lift both will be working under the principle of Pascal's law. Understood? Here the braking system is very fast. Is it clear? So next, atmospheric pressure. The instrument which is used to measure atmospheric pressure is nothing but barometer, right? The instrument used to measure atmospheric pressure is barometer. Generally, barometer is nothing but it's a capillary tube. We have taken a capillary tube, a very thin uniform bore, and that is to be filled with mercury. So we have filled this capillary tube with mercury. Okay. So without any air bubbles, we have filled completely this capillary tube with mercury, and it is of length 1 meter. And we have taken a mercury trough, a bowl which is also filled with some mercury. Now what we have to do is we have to invert this tube. We have to invert this tube by putting our thumb, by closing this open end with our thumb. Invert it, and what happens? Remove your thumb. Then what happens? The mercury will fall down from the inverted tube, isn't it? Now the setup will be so let it be the mercury trough. So as soon as we invert the tube, then mercury will start falling down like this. So when we invert this tube, the mercury falls down, and here there will be a free space or a vacuum will be created. This vacuum is called Torricellian vacuum. Okay. Now consider some points. Let this point be A. Let this point be B. Let this point be C. Okay. So here there is no space, it's a vacuum. Here this is open to the atmosphere, so it is atmospheric pressure, that is P naught. Let pressure at point C be Pc. Okay. Pressure at point A be, let it be Pa, which is equal to 0, we know that. Now from variation of pressure with depth, we can write pressure at point C is equal to variation of pressure with depth. For example, the distance from here to here, let it be h. So pressure at point C is equal to pressure at point A plus h rho z, right? We know that Pa is equal to 0. So So Pc is equal to H rho g. So according to Pascal's law, pressure at different points which are at same depth are equal. So we know that Pc is equal to Pb, which is nothing but the atmospheric pressure P naught. So since Pc is equal to P naught, therefore the atmospheric pressure P naught is equal to H rho g. Here H is the height of barometric height of mercury column, rho is the density of mercury, and g is acceleration due to gravity. So H value at atmospheric pressure 76 centimeters and rho is 13.6 gram per cc and g value 980 centimeter per second square. So if we solve this value, we will get P naught is equal to 1.01 into 10 power 5 Pascal. Okay. So this is called 1 atm pressure. 1 atm is equal to 1.01 into 10 power 5 Pascal. Or we can write this as 76 centimeters of mercury or 760 torr. 760 mm of Hg or 760 torr. Okay. So next one, manometer. So manometer is a device which is used to measure gauge pressure. So here we have taken a container which is filled with some gas. So we have a nozzle, we have a valve here, and it is connected to a U-shaped manometer. So it is connected to a U-shaped manometer like this, which contains mercury in it. Okay, so this is valve. Here we have gas. So initially the mercury level is here like this, it is in equilibrium. Whenever this valve is opened, then what happens? This gas will try to expand, will try to increase its volume, so that this gas will be passed through the tube and these gas molecule will exert some pressure on this mercury column, right? Then because of the pressure, what happens? Because of the pressure exerted by the gas, this mercury column will come down in one limb, and here it is raised to certain height, so that the rise in height is h. Okay, let Pg be the pressure exerted by the gas molecules. Now in a static fluid, pressure at different points which are at same depth are equal. Now at this point be A, let this point be B, let this point be C. This is open to the atmosphere, so it is Pc is nothing but atmospheric pressure. Okay, now see, according to variation of pressure with depth, Pb can be written as Pc plus H rho g, right? Isn't it? Pb is equal to Pc plus H rho g. But what is Pc? Pc is nothing but atmospheric pressure. Now therefore Pb is equal to Pa, isn't it? So the pressure exerted at point A is nothing but the pressure of the gas. Pz is equal to what? P naught plus H rho g. Understood? So that from this we can find out the pressure exerted by the gas. So the gauge pressure Pg minus P naught is equal to H rho g, where H is the rise in height of the mercury column. Okay. See the problem. The liquids shown in the figure in the two arms are mercury and water. mercury specific gravity was given as 13.6. If the difference of height of the mercury column is 2 centimeter, find the height of water column. See, this is the figure. Initially, mercury is in equilibrium. It is at same level in the both arms. Now, whenever we pour some water, we do not know that one, how much amount of water column is poured. That only we have to find out. So then what happens? The rise in mercury level is, it was given as 2 centimeter. Okay. Now what we have to do is, we have to find the height of water column. Now, let us consider the height of water column as h. Okay. So this is the height h. Now, consider pressure at point A. So pressure at point A, that means this is atmospheric pressure P0. So PA is equal to P0 plus this water column of height h. So h, it is of water, so rho W into G, right? Similarly, pressure at point B, PB is equal to, this is atmospheric pressure P0 plus, let this height be x anukunam. Okay, so x rho mercury into G. So A and B are at the same level. So therefore PA is equal to PB. Then what happens? P0 gets cancelled. So H rho WG is equal to X rho HG G. GG gets cancelled. I want H. So H is equal to X into rho HG by rho W. So density of mercury by density of water is nothing but specific gravity. It was given as 13.6 and X value we have taken it as 2 centimeter. So 2 into 13.6. Okay. So this is 27.2 centimeter. So see the next problem. An open U-tube of uniform cross-section contains some mercury. When 40.8 centimeter length of water is poured in one arm of the tube, find how high does the mercury rise in other arm from its initial level. Okay, so we have an U-tube of uniform area of cross-section. For example, initially the mercury was at this level. Let us assume. Whenever some water is poured, then this mercury level in the left arm will be depressed by x, will fall down by x. Then in the other limb, then the mercury level will be raised through same height x. Why? Because it was mentioned it is of uniform area of cross section, right? Understood? Now what happened? We have 40.8 centimeter column of water is poured. Now this is water column. Okay, let this point be A, let this point be B. So this is the interface of water and mercury, and this is mercury, point B is in mercury. So here the mercury level is raised through a distance x in the other limb. So from the initial level, that means consider some points A and B. A is the interface between mercury and water. Now see, pressure at point A and pressure at point B. We know that PA is equal to PB. Okay, consider PA. This is atmospheric pressure. So P0 plus H. How much length of water column is there? 40.8. So P0 plus H rho G. So 40.8 rho water into G is equal to, this is atmospheric pressure P0 plus this is X and this is also X, right? So therefore 2x into rho of mercury into G. So P0 gets cancelled. then G will be gets cancelled out. So it will be 40.8 into density of water is 1 gram per cc is equal to 2x into density of mercury is 13.6 gram per cc. Then x is equal to 40.8 by 13.6 into 2. So on solving you will be getting the value 1.5 centimeter. Okay. So what do we want to find out? How high does the mercury rise in the other limb from its initial level? So from initial level, the rise in mercury level is x, so 1.5 centimeter. Okay.